What's up, fragrance connoisseurs? Charm City, your host, and welcome to the Fragrance Connoisseurs. Welcome to the channel. Again, I'm Charm City, your friend and your guide to help you in this fragrance journey that we're going through together. As we come to the end of 2024, it's been a great year. It's been a great year for fragrances. It's been a great year for learning about different fragrances, learning more about the nuances of notes and accords. Got to go to Scent Explorer 2024. That was a great experience in and of itself. So today I'm going to talk about the fragrances that have been endured to me during this 2024 year and the fragrances that I picked up. So these fragrances are not necessarily fragrances that came out in 2024, but these are fragrances that I bought in 2024 and are considered to me some of the best fragrances that I picked up this year. So we want to get into a lot of the different nuances of the fragrances, and I want to give you a lot more in regard to that. And as we go through each of them, I will tell you what they mean to me, why I picked them up, and if there was any symbolism that caused me to get it this year. So sit back, stay tuned for station identification as we go through my best pickups of 2024. And definitely, we're going to take these fragrances and own the room one spray at a time. Come on. All right, fragrance connoisseurs, we're back, and we're going to start off with some honorable mentions. It's been a great year. I did pick up a few fragrances towards the end of the year, right in December, and generally I just don't want to bump them up over some other fragrances because I didn't have as much time to spend with them or experience them. So I do want to give a couple honorable mentions. One, a phenomenal fragrance, and this one is Aylan by Day 3 Fragrances. Got to meet Michael Paul and the Day 3 family at Scent Explorer. I had gotten a discovery set earlier this year and actually did a live of the discovery set in May or June or sometime. I got the discovery set a little before that. Aylan is a great fragrance. Now, Aylan is a vanilla fragrance and it has a nice rose note in it, and it also has some pepper in the opening. It is beautiful, but what distinguishes it is the rose. It's got a nice blonde, clean oud in it, and many people have maybe said that it kind of reminds them of Baby Cat. It only may remind you of Baby Cat in the first 5 minutes, in my opinion. It's that pepper and that elemi in the opening. It gives it a kind of similar vibe, but it's definitely its own fragrance. And it's definitely risen to be one of my top vanillas, even though I've only spent a short time with it. If you have not gotten your nose on Aylan by Day 3 Fragrances, you really need to get your nose on it. Great fragrance. Another one that I put as an honorable mention, and this one is Emiro, and this is by Moresque. A wonderful fragrance. It really reminds me of Roja Parfum's Ambre Oud. That's maybe one of the reasons why I put it as honorable mention. However, it is a very nice amber fragrance. Now, in the same way of my impressions of Ambre Oud, I really think the oud is taking a backseat to an interplay of rose and amber. This is a beautiful, warm, rich amber and rose combination, and oud kind of sets the stage for it and plays in the background of it. It is wonderful. It is probably in the 80 to 85% range of Roja's Ambre Oud. It's very rich, a very great fragrance, and you can get it for a reasonable price on Max Aroma, often on sale for almost like a third of its retail price. Great fragrance. Emiro, by Moresque. Now, getting into my top pickups for 2024, not really gonna be in any order, but I will tell you the symbolism, what they mean to me, and how it works. Now, what I can say is immediately, I can say the most worn of the pickups that I got for 2024, it would be this one. And that is Imagination by Louis Vuitton. As you can see the dent in it. I'm not even twisting it or shaking it. That is a verified dent from a fragrance that I got at the beginning of the summer season. And Louis Vuitton Imagination is probably my pickup of the year. If I was gonna rate it just down to one, Louis Vuitton Imagination was the greatest. It's a fresh fragrance. It's invigorating. It has a tea base to it, and it just is uplifting. As I probably said in some videos before, in my videos of the spring, the videos of the summer, because I did bring this fragrance out in all of them. This fragrance, when you smell it, just lifts your mood, makes you happy. If you smell this fragrance and it doesn't change your mood to happiness, you probably need therapy. As far as you need to see somebody, because this fragrance is phenomenal. To me, this is great, and that's why already it has a lot of clones. Now, it did come out in 2021, so it's not one that is new, but it is new to my collection, and I really got into the house of Louis Vuitton this year. Next one I will talk about is Absolu Aventus by Creed. Now, the one thing I do have to say about Absolu Aventus by Creed is that this was supposed to be a limited edition, and it went everywhere. It went to discounters, it was sold, then they had a Triple H batch, and now they have a limited edition. You can get it. The price tag for retail is pretty steep. I think the price tag for this retail was $575, and it is, but regardless of all that, it is a great fragrance. That's what I have to say. It takes, to me, and some people may not feel the same way, but to me, it takes kind of the best things about Creed Aventus, and it takes some of the best things about Sauvage Elixir and brings them together. It gives you a bright citrus opening that is kind of reminiscent of Creed Aventus, but it's not an exact match. It doesn't have the same smokiness, but then it has the best elements of Sauvage Elixir on the dry down and when it starts to develop on your skin. This one lasts a good, decent amount of time. It has good projection, good sillage, and it has good longevity. If you like Creed Aventus DNA, and I mean everybody likes that Sauvage Elixir type scent profile, you will like this. It is not as limited as they say, but what I can say as far as having a signature scent, this is signature scent worthy. This is one that is pleasing. It will garner a lot of compliments. It is a great fragrance in and of itself. I just think that they played a little bit with the limited nature of it, and it wasn't as limited as they said. You can't get the original, I don't believe anymore in retail, but they just came back out with it, another, I guess, formulation. So it looks like Absolu Aventus is here to stay. I guess it did well enough as far as the sales, and it looks like it's back. So if you can get your nose on that, that was definitely one of the better pickups that I had this year. Going to another one, we'll get more into some of the deeper and darker fragrances. And this is Ambre Khandjar by Nuit Nomade. Now, this is a wonderful fragrance. It's deep, it's dark, it's a little mysterious, and its main note accord that really resonates with me is a black plum. The black plum note is very ripe, and it really pops off the skin, and it gives you kind of this sensual sexy type vibe that it gets. So it's citrus. It gives you a dose of smoky incense. It's elegant. It's slightly powdery. This is a really nice fragrance. I have been delving into the house of Nuit Nomade. I have a discovery set that I'm gonna go through on the channel as well, so you can see some of the other ones that I really like. I own two. I'm gonna own a lot more in 2025, but this is one of the best ones that's warm. When you look at the prominent notes, it's black plum, labdanum, orris, sandalwood, benzoin. This is a really nice amber with a good dose of a fruity black ripe plum, black plum. So it is a great fragrance, and it was one of my better pickups for 2024. Next, we will go with Zen'Gi by Untitled Luxury. Now, Zen'Gi, to me, this is kind of like a spicy sangria. It has a red wine accord that is really nice in this one, and it starts off with a good grapefruit citrus opening. I got this early in 2024, in fact, almost exactly right after it came out. It came out in maybe November, I think, of 2023 or something like that, and I had it ordered and on the way like right after the new year. I did feature this on a live and talked about Zen'Gi and how I liked it, and it has been picking up some hype and steam. And I'm not saying I was the first one, I don't know, but I will say that that rich red wine, that sangria type vibe, makes it a really inviting fragrance that to me is a little unique luxury. This one is one that I would say that you should get your nose on. It could be signature scent worthy. You can wear it at least all year round. I just wouldn't wear it in the hottest of hot weather, but it does really well in the spring and summer. But it's deep enough, it's dense enough and rich enough that you can wear this all year round. Great fragrance by Untitled Luxury. I have a lot from the house. I love the house. This one is a winner. Next, we're gonna get into some of the deeper, darker ones, and we'll go with Tango by Masque Milano. Now, Tango is by Cecile Zaharoff. Got to meet her at Scent Explorer 2024. Basically, almost any fragrance that I've seen by Cecile Zaharoff, I have liked, and this one is no different. This is an amber, but it has a little bit of bite to it, and I'll talk about, but that's some of the allure of ambers, and I'll try to talk about that as well. But this amber, it is, I would say it's warm. It's a rich amber. It's floral, it's spicy, and then it has an animalic bite with some subtle sweetness. The animalic bite of this comes from cumin, so it gives you kind of like a clean sweat type odor. Now, before you get turned off by that, just understand that as long as some of the blends of these, even though we may say it's animalic, as long as it's blended with the right notes and the right accords, it really comes off sexy. Musk is really animalic, but because of something in the pheromones or something that we perceive that speaks to our carnal nature, it becomes sexy, it becomes inviting, and this one is that in the air. So don't worry about when you first spray it. You may get a slight blast of something that you would think is animalic that I believe comes from the cumin or some of the richness of the amber, but in the air, it is a compliment monster, and people will give you attention. This is one that I'd put it up top with any other amber as far as the sexiness, as far as what it garners in what other people perceive of the smell of this fragrance. So when you look at this, it is an amber fragrance. It has cumin in it, like I was talking about, but it has a resinous benzoin It has a aromatic cardamom that really shines, and other spices. It has a cinnamon. It also has tonka bean that gives it kind of this nutty sweetness. It has woods of sandalwood, gaiac wood. It has a Turkish rose that really blends well with it. And then it also has jasmine sambac, and cedar. This is an extraordinary fragrance. One of the best ambers that I would put. I definitely have it in my top 5 ambers. And it was one of the better pickups that I had for 2024. Staying with the ambers and some of the best. I really love amber fragrances, but this one is Ambre Loup by Rania J. Now, Ambre Loup, just like Tango was from 2023. I mean, 2013, not 2023. And Ambre Loup was from 2012. I didn't know anything about this. I don't see this a lot on YouTube or Instagram or anything like this, but this is another extraordinary amber. I was trying to gatekeep this and to bring this out in a battle against Nate the Great that's coming up. Hopefully he won't look at this video, but this is probably, again, easily this year, it has risen to my top 5 ambers. I really need to do an amber video, but this one is another one that has a bit of animalic touch to it. Not from cumin, this one comes from oud, but it's an amber oud that is extraordinary. And I don't know why this doesn't get as much hype when he talks about ambers, but this is worth getting your nose on. So it doesn't get the love it's deserved, that it deserves, but it is a special amber. It's spicy, and it has spices that aren't really named, but it also has clove, and then it has labdanum, vanilla absolute, and perobalsam that kind of form that amber accord. And then it goes into gaiac wood, agar wood, and cedar. This one, it does again have that kind of animalic oud that is woody, but also slightly dense and dark. However, the vanilla and resinous sweetness of it tames that, pulls it back, and it makes a very, very sexy, sensual, warm fragrance in the air. This is another one, and I say it often, for things that kind of have oud and things that kind of have some notes like civet or cumin, it is not made for you to smell it like this at your nose. It's made for it to be in the air, and also most of those, that animalic part of it, the bite will be tamed as it starts to dry down. I know maybe the first 5-10 minutes, if you put it right to your nose, it will be something that may be a little offensive to you. But if you can trust me and get past those first couple minutes and see the reactions that you will get from people in that experience what you're wearing in the air, it is amazing. And this one, Ambre Loup, this is one that you really need to get your nose on. I was trying to gatekeep it, like I said, because I was trying to save it for other things to bring out in a fragrance battle. But this one is one I can't hold it back from all the fragrance connoisseurs that want to know. It is an older fragrance, but you really need to give this one some love. It is incredible. You will not be disappointed. Get your nose on it. Next one, we're gonna go with day 3, and I did talk about Aylan, but this is La Tacita de Café by Day 3 Fragrances. This one is one, La Tacita de Café was one that when I first smelled it from the set that I had, it was one that I put on my list to get this year. Now, I didn't get it in the summer. I got Bonnie first because this one I thought would be more of a cooler weather fragrance, so I waited to get it later. But I did pull the trigger on this because it was a must-have. It is a real Dominican coffee-based flavor. It has a flavor, but that fragrance, and the smell and aroma is photorealistic. It is great. Now, Michael Paul did talk about it from Day 3 Fragrances and said this was his first fragrance that they put out, and it also won an award as their first fragrance and won another award at Scent Explorer this year. But it is photorealistic. It tells a story, because every scent does tell a story. It tells a story of his mother, that when she has a cup of coffee and a little dessert for him every time he sees her, and how this is just a great fragrance with a great story. And it even is more symbolic of such a great story, because he talks about that it's his mother-in-law. So really nice fragrance. You'll really enjoy it. La Tacita de Cafe has spices and wild orange, coffee, caramel, rum, and rose. And it's a mix of sweetness, and it offsets that sweetness with a rose and ambrose. A beautiful coffee fragrance. You will enjoy it. Next, we're going to go with Bodacious by Boadicea the Victorious. This is one that I was given a decant from Duck 212. Shout out to Duck 212. This is a boozy cherry fragrance that is instantly my favorite cherry fragrance. In fact, when I tried the decant that I was given, I ordered it that night. This is by far, to me, the best cherry fragrance that I own. And it is boozy, dark cherry, dash of spice with a nutty nuance. It is an incredible gourmand, floating on semi-gourmand fragrance. It goes in and out to me. Sometimes I think it's a full gourmand, sometimes I think it's just semi-gourmand. Great one. Cherry, cognac, almond, and clove in the opening. Heliotrope that gives you that almond nuttiness. Jasmine and Moroccan rose. Then in the base is tobacco, tonka bean, vanilla, amber, sandalwood, musk, and vetiver. Really nice. Something that I think you really need to get your hands on. The next one we have is Signature Halfeti Black Rose by Zaharoff. Now, Halfeti Black Rose, or Signature Halfeti Black Rose, is instantly this year has become one of my favorite rose fragrances. I would put it in my top 2 along with Spirit of Dubai and Narcissi. This is an exceptional rose fragrance, and what I would say is that if you love rose fragrances, you need to get this. If you like rose fragrances, you need to get this. If you really don't care for rose fragrances, you need to try this, sample this, experience this, because I think that if you don't like rose fragrances, this will be one of the fragrances that will turn your attention to understanding, appreciating rose. This is a phenomenal rose fragrance. Now you can see the color of the juice. It's a purplish color, really incredible. And what I can say is that this takes that rose DNA, the special scent that you get with the Halfeti Black Rose, and it opens it up and it blooms and it spreads more and more of a mature, robust rose aroma as it dries down and develops on your skin. It is an incredible experience of how you can experience that Halfeti Black Rose. This is beautiful. It's a dark, masculine rose fragrance that is in some manners more versatile than Narcissi and can be worn at more times and at different places. It takes that rose and it opens up with a black pepper and a bergamot and basil that makes it bright and takes that opening, but the rose then starts off like it's blooming and developing, And then you get the Turkish rose, black rose, cedarwood, amber, musk, and tonka bean. And then in the base, it's vetiver, musk, oud, cypriol, labdanum, and frankincense. This is all about the rose fragrance, and everything else supports it. It is a wonderful fragrance, worth getting your nose on. Like I said, instantly this year, this went into my top 2, and it's an incredible rose fragrance. The last one that we will talk about is Mayo Fusciuni, and this is Little Song. This is one that I had seen. There was a subscriber that talked about it, and I'll have to find and shout out to him, because in my first live, he basically was asking me, do I know about the house of Mayo Fusciuni? And I couldn't even pronounce it at the time. I had no idea. And he was telling of different fragrances like Little Song, and it piqued my interest because in 2 lives he actually brought it up. And then later on I also saw Curtis Knows talk about it, and it just kept coming around. It was on my list, and as soon as I found it at a place where I could get it, because it's not something that is readily available or easy to get, and I ordered it. I blind bought it because, of course, I'm the blind buy bandit. So this one is not, I would not suggest everyone to blind buy this. It is deep, it's dark, it's rich, it's mysterious, and it may not be everybody's cup of tea or cup of coffee, because it is a coffee fragrance. So this one is a dominant coffee fragrance. It's very rich, it's very deep, it's very dark and mysterious, but it blends really well with the coffee, and then a deep Turkish rose and liatris, which then is kind of like a wild vanilla, and it gives you kind of a sensual, almost raw honey type vibe to it. And the way this is blended together is something special. I would tell everybody you need to sample this. Mayo Fusciuni is a wonderful perfumer, and some of the things that I've sampled from him are really incredible. I am going to delve more into the house. I'm going to get more of his fragrances. This was the first one. I got it this year. This one came out in 2018. Hopefully, I don't know if I told all the years that it came out of all the fragrances, even though I picked them up this year, but I will list those when I list the name of the fragrance. But pink pepper, ginger, and bergamot in the opening, coffee, Turkish rose, and liatris in the mid, then tobacco, bourbon vetiver, musk, civet, labdanum, and sage. This is a very rich, intricate, deep fragrance that is dark, brooding, and underlying sensual in the way it develops on your skin. It is one that I would recommend highly, but I also recommend you get a sample. This is a great fragrance and definitely unique. You won't smell anything like it, in my opinion. Nothing that really comes to mind to me. It was something that I am glad that it's in my collection, and it's a great addition. So those are the 10 fragrances that are some of the top pickups that I have for 2024. We're looking for 2025 to be a great year, doing a lot of new things. Going to try to make sure that we stay consistent with doing lives, stay consistent with getting out content, and giving you access to some houses that you don't usually see, like Rania J, like Nuit, Nomade, like Unique Luxury, Masque Milano, and Mayo Fusciuni. I know that there are a lot of times we see from different reviewers the same houses, but I really like to get into some of the more obscure houses, some of the lesser known houses, and to give you some more of a variety to make your decision on what fragrances you would like to have. Again, own the room, one spray at a time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. God bless.
All right, here we go. Do 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 da da do 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 do. Well, I'm singing Mary.